Hello, everyone, and welcome to the award-winning Connecting with Kim show here on Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network. I'm your host, Kim Droege, and we're so glad you joined us today. And before we get started, we also want to say that you can catch the audio of our show on Sun Radio, 96.3 FM, and on your favorite streaming platform, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3:30 in the afternoon. So again, we're so glad you joined us. We want to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Spring of Tampa Bay, who provides safe spaces and empowering services for survivors of domestic violence and their children. They provide our on-air wardrobe, and we are so grateful to them. I also want to ask you to like and follow my X account, my Instagram account, and my Facebook account so that you can find out the latest information about the show, our guests, and of course the wardrobe available at the store, the thrift store on North Willow, just north of Kennedy. It's the only store they have going right now because the one at Swan and Henderson has been closed, but they will be consolidating later this year into new digs, and we'll have Mindy Murphy, the CEO, on to explain that all to us. So we're so excited today because we have a first-timer. I met this wonderful woman at a CEO council meeting here in Tampa, and I knew the minute I heard her speak, I was like, she's going to be on my show. So let me introduce you to Jennifer Jacobs, who is the Executive Director of Close to Kids. Welcome, Jennifer, to Connecting with Kim.
Thank you so much for having me. We're excited to be here.
It's a delight to have you. So we have, and you can see that we have some props on the Connecting with Kim show, which we'll talk about in the due course of the interview. So Jennifer, we always like to start out the interview the same way every time with all of our guests, which gives them a few minutes at the top of the show to share their life journey as much as they feel comfortable with. And that usually brings us to what we're going to talk about today. And you just never know when somebody out there is sharing something in common with you. So take it away.
Sure. So I'm from, with my accent, a lot of people always assume that I am from either Alabama or Georgia. And when they find out that I am a fifth, and we think it's probably a sixth generation Floridian, they are always, really? You're Floridian? And where are you from with that accent? And I always have to make the shape of Florida and say that, the little town outside of Tallahassee, it's about 50 miles east of Tallahassee. It's called Perry, Florida.
I know where that is.
Yes, and that's where I'm from. And very small town. Graduated high school with about 163 people. So it's always very interesting to live in the 8th largest school district in the United States. So that's always a fun story to tell, that I'm from a small town and now live in a big city. So I went to FSU, so go Noles, and have enjoyed being a mom, and I have 2 young boys in school here in Tampa, and have been happily married to my husband. Next year will be 20 years. And
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's something to celebrate in my book.
Absolutely. And started my career off in nonprofit work right out of college, working with Habitat for Humanity. Everyone is very familiar with Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, bravo on you.
Well, thank you. Yes, so I have climbed roofs and put on shingles, and that kind of sparked my interest in nonprofit work, was working at Habitat. And my husband graduated law school, and he moved me back to Florida. And I said, well, what am I going to do? And so I worked with the Habitat for Humanity affiliate here in Greater Tampa Bay, and then went to the American Cancer Society, and then I worked for another organization called Frameworks of Tampa Bay, and then landed here at Close to Kids, and have been at Close to Kids since December will be 13 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
I always so admire folks who want to do nonprofit work, because talent in the nonprofit world is just as important as talent in the corporate world or any other world. And so I applaud someone who at such a young age knew immediately that you wanted to do nonprofit work, and you have dedicated your career to nonprofit work.
Sure have. It's a special place to be. nonprofit work, whether that's for mental health or clothing, shelter, food. I mean, it's powerful work.
It is powerful work. And as far as your accent, I mean, I don't know. I've been coming to Florida since I was 4 years old, and I can tell you that your accent doesn't, I wouldn't have thought you were not from Florida. I mean, you know, there's lots of places in Florida.
True Tampanians have an accent.
Oh, they do. They just don't think they do, right?
That's right.
No, I think it's wonderful, and I know exactly what town you're from because I've been there on my way to Tallahassee. So
that's right.
Yeah, you take the back way, right? You got to go through.
19.
Exactly. Let's start with understanding for our listening and watching audience. Let's start with the basics. Tell me about. I've of course heard your presentation. I was so impressed. But let's share with the rest of that world out there about Clothes to Kids.
Sure. So Clothes to Kids, we provide a new week's worth of school clothes to low-income or in crisis school-age children free of charge. Now, well, what does that mean? Well, more than half of all students in Hillsborough and Pinellas County qualify to shop with us. Those children are eligible for free or reduced price lunch.
Let's just take a moment, because that statistics, when you quoted at the CEO Council of Tampa, so shocked me, so rocked me right to my core, that's when I knew that right after the presentation I was going to seek you out. I think we ought to say that again. Half of the school kids
in Pinellas and Hillsborough County
don't have clothes to wear to school.
That's correct. And studies and research and school administration will tell us that if a child doesn't have what they need to wear to school, they simply will not go. And we need kids in school. And
Absolutely.
The reason that we need kids in school is because for the kids that qualify for free or reduced lunch, they're depending on getting their meal there, their breakfast there, their lunch there, and this is where they are getting their social and emotional needs met, they're learning, and if they don't have clothes, they just simply will not go. So if we can eliminate that barrier by allowing them to come in and shop with us and receive their free week's worth of school clothes, then that will at least take away one barrier of getting them there.
Absolutely. So explain to me, so now they come in and they shop for a week's worth of clothes. Now, tell me about your stores.
So we actually started in Pinellas County back in 2002, and we were in a very small storefront, and it was about, I think it was about 900 square feet. And within 2 years, we quickly outgrew that, and we opened up a store that was about 3,000 square feet off of Hercules Avenue in Clearwater.
Okay.
And we've been in that store since 2005. In 2009, we opened up our St. Pete store, which is South St. Pete. And then in 2017, we opened up our Tampa store to serve Hillsborough County because we were hearing from Hillsborough County school professionals and administrations that they needed help in this county with clothes as well. So, about the stores. Wow. It's so neat to see the kids because they don't think that they are in any different of a store than
any other retail location.
Any other retail location. So we have a girls department, a boys department, we have our uniform section, we have our shoe department, we have dressing rooms for them to try on, and each one of our walls is pink and blue and green and yellow. I mean, it's a color explosion. And all of our clothes have tags on them because when you go to any other big box retailer, there's a tag on it, right? It's just like any other store, except for the fact that they're getting a free week's worth of school clothes, 22 pieces that they have selected. So they get a pair of shoes, they get 5 new pairs of socks, they get 5 new pairs of underwear, 4 bottoms, 2 long, 2 short, 5 tops, a dress, and a jacket in season. And that is all free of charge to them. Okay, so they come in and they shop, they pick it out themselves, they get 22 pieces. Thank you for enumerating what the pieces are, I really appreciate that. And so after that, those clothes are theirs to keep, right? That's correct. And so they come in and they get a shopping bag with their name on it, and it says Sophia, or it says Jennifer, or it says Kim, and it's their bag of clothes that they have selected, that they have shopped for. And I'm always reminded about the little girl who was running around the store, and she finds this yellow dress, and it has purple butterflies all over it. And she runs over to her mom, and she's got the size tag. in her hand, and she says, "Mommy, can we afford this one?" And the mom looked at her and she said, "Honey, we can afford everything in this store." And so she was telling us as she was leaving, she said, "I was expecting that today is a day that my dignity was intact."
Oh, that is a wonderful story. I really appreciate you sharing that.
And it matters,
It
right?
matters.
Like, you go to the Spring Boutique and get your wardrobe items for the show.
Right.
You know, you've got on accessories, you've got on a fun jacket. We just so happened to coordinate today, right?
Well, we mentally did that.
Yes, we did. We did mentally do that. But you've got on earrings, you've got on accessories, you've got on shoes that match perfectly. You know, I've got on earrings and that match my dress.
Right.
It's very important because first impressions matter, right? And let's give a space, let's provide the opportunity for children to be able to shop in a store that they can go in and she can want that yellow dress with purple butterflies all over it. Or can you imagine the little girl that's going to pick out this gold,
The sparkly thing.
the
I love
sparkly
that
thing,
one.
you know, or the unicorn native shoes.
Exactly.
You know, because it matters.
Well, it matters for two reasons, in my opinion. And when I would go into the Spring Boutique, and now when I go into the thrift store in Willow, you know, I take a tour around the entire section. In the Spring Boutique, it was the entire store. Anyway, I look at everything. I look at the purses. I look at the shoes. I look at all the clothes. I look at the jewelry. And then I start to slowly take pieces that I think are going to work. Either it's a whole outfit, or I can combine it with something I already own, right? Basics I already own. And I take them, and they would give me a rack, and I would put them on the rack, and then I would start matching things. But I look at it for two reasons. First of all, how you feel about yourself.
Right.
Is extremely important. If you start off feeling confident and good about yourself at the beginning of the day, that affects your whole attitude, right?
Right.
And then the second thing is, it affects how others perceive you, because now you are projecting that, right?
That's correct. And, you know, you don't necessarily want to think that that is what people are looking at, but it is.
It's reality.
It is reality. And, you know, when you're not able to wear, you know, like I think about the brothers. You know, I have two little boys, as I shared.
Right.
And we heard that one of them was wearing an outfit on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then the other brother, so they were in high school, one was a sophomore, one was a senior.
Yeah.
And one would wear the outfits on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then the other one would wear it on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and they would swap their clothes.
Oh my God, that is heartbreaking. It's a good time to reintroduce you. If you're just joining us now and connecting with Kim, I'm so glad you're with us. We have Jennifer Jacobs, who is the Executive Director of Clothes to Kids, and we are just exploring the entire importance of having, the fact that kids in Hillsborough and Pinellas, half of the kids, don't have a wardrobe to wear to school. Okay, so that's heartbreaking right there. Secondly, but now they have a place to go to fix that problem.
3 stores.
So 3 stores, and so let me understand, where do the clothes come from?
Each wardrobe includes 22 pieces.
Right.
So you can imagine, clothes go out very quickly. So where do the clothes come from? The clothes come from the community. We buy our socks, because those have to be new.
They have to be new.
And
underwear.
And we buy underwear. And but everything else comes from our community. And we literally last year we provided 16,411 wardrobes. Now, that is more than 400,000 pieces of clothing.
Yeah.
So that is the community. So we have to go to places of worship. Anybody listening today, if you have young kids, we can absolutely use your kids' clothes. And kids come in all shapes and sizes,
That's right.
You know, I'll never forget the little meme that I saw, you know, on one of the social platforms where it showed a pair of size 8 jeans, and it was like doot 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 doot, and because size 8 can mean all different kinds of things,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
You know, so kids come in all shapes and sizes, so our clothes have to as well, right? And because we're serving pre-K4 all the way to 12th grade, guess what? It's little honeys, and we have to have the adult sizes,
Right,
right?
right.
So we have to have clothes, and we have to have a lot of clothes because each child that's coming into shop is receiving those 22 pieces. So they come from the community.
So are the clothes being donated? So sometimes is it used clothing being donated, new clothing being donated? Tell me about that.
So you just asked my favorite question. Well, and I thought you were going to go to it, which was, are the clothes clean when they're donated? I thought that's where you were headed.
Well, I've been thrifting a long time, so I know certain things.
So here's the deal. So the clothes are a mixture of new and gently used.
Okay.
And we like to say gently loved. Okay. So, but when you go and you say, okay, I'm going to donate clothes, right? You're going to your closet, you're going to your dresser and your drawers to pick out what you're going to donate, right? And you don't put up clean clothes. I mean, dirty clothes, right?
No, I don't.
I mean, I don't either.
No, I don't do
and
that.
most of the clothes that we get are clean.
That's good.
And we go through them all. And we make sure that there's not any ripped, stained, soiled, nothing offensive. And then it gets tagged with our tag and it goes out on the floor. So we need lots of clothes, and we know that the clothes are out there, and we have to have clothes that come in all shapes and sizes. And elementary school age children,
Well, they grow fast.
They grow fast.
So they're growing out of them anyway.
That's right.
Right?
That's
the
right.
shoes and everything.
That's right. So of all the clothes that we have in inventory, I believe that we are only, so of all the wardrobes that we served last year, about 17% is actually purchased. So that other 83% is then donated.
Okay, so I'm assuming that you purchase the items that you actually required. They have to be new and they should be purchased.
Correct.
I assume that you're doing that off of donations, or how's that work?
That's correct.
Okay.
So for us to be able to clothe that child for a week, our cost is about $65.
Okay.
So that's a pretty good deal. I'm buying clothes left and right for my children, and if you can clothe the child for a week for $65, you're getting a good bang for your buck.
Okay.
And so each of the items that are donated to us, like this pair of underwear, this is on average, because I have to take the small ones and the big ones,
Right.
our average cost to purchase a pair of underwear is $1.75.
Yeah.
To purchase a pair of socks, it's about 90 cents. So every piece of that wardrobe has a value that's associated with it. So we are able to keep our costs down because of the community donations. So it would be a lot more if we were buying all of the pieces new.
Okay, so let me understand. Where can the folks donate? Or do you go and pick it up, or do they bring it to you?
They bring it to us.
Okay, and they bring it to the stores, or where do they bring it?
They bring it to our stores.
Okay.
And we have 3 stores, the Clearwater, St. Pete, and Tampa. And we can provide those addresses and that
we're
can share.
we're gonna do that. I mean, folks, towards the end, we're gonna supply some info, so get your pencils ready. And the other thing is that if you follow us on our various Facebook, Instagram, and X accounts, all of that information will be provided in the posting, so you know exactly how to access their website, know where their stores are, etc. Okay, so how do the families come to know about you? That's the other thing I want to.
So that's the equal,
Yeah.
that's where you have to,
Yeah.
because of the fact being, when you look at, there's more than 208,000 total students, and as I shared, Hillsborough County is the 8th largest school district in the United States.
Right.
So think about that. Of all the schools,
Oh, I know, it's huge.
It's huge,
It's
right?
huge.
So that's about 208,000. So if you take somewhere between more than half of that, so 65 to 70% of those, we would not, we did 16,400 wardrobes last year.
Right.
So we find out because of our, we have great partnerships with our superintendents, our social workers within the school, our school admins. And matter of fact, when we came over to Hillsborough County, we worked with our school social workers, and they said, here's an area that's not, that could benefit your services.
Right.
And so that's where we put our Tampa store. So off of Hillsborough Avenue.
Oh, okay. So they've been identified by the school system and the social workers and whatnot. So if you have a store and it looks like any other store, other than it has your name on it, right?
Right.
So when somebody strolls in off the street or comes in, do they have to present something?
They do.
Okay.
Great question. So the free and reduced lunch letter.
Yeah.
So every child in Hillsborough County Schools receives a lunch letter, whether your child qualifies or not. So that's their
Entree.
That's
their entree
to
ticket.
take one out of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
That's their golden ticket.
Yeah,
right.
golden ticket.
A couple of years ago, though, we did add in crisis to our mission. So if the family is experiencing any type of situation where they need to leave their home or fire, flood,
right.
So those are in. So we work with a lot of social service agencies as well. So they are able to refer their families to us as well, so that they can come and get their 3 weeks worth of school clothes too.
So the families have the golden ticket. They come in, they get the week's worth of clothing, 22 pieces per child, and I imagine some of these families coming in have more than one child. And
Yes.
so do they ever fall off the list and don't come anymore? I mean, I'm trying to understand how the cycle works, because I'm really into that. Like, how does the cycle
well,
work?
and we are as well.
Yeah.
And so we actually allow the children to shop twice in their calendar year.
Oh, okay.
So we like for them to come back, right?
Right.
So, we try to get them when it's jacket season. So we provide them. So jackets are not provided all year long because we don't need them in Florida, right? Especially here in Tampa.
Right.
So jackets go out in October. They're out for 6 months. And then, back to school is crazy. So, we'll have 60 plus kids a day shopping in all 3 of our stores during back to school. So we try to get them to come back in the off season or whatever season that they're shopping in, the 6 month season later, right? So that we can serve them. And we actually, I met a former shopper. He shopped back during the recession of 2008. And I met him the other day, and he is now a working professional at a huge company here in Greater Tampa Bay. And
That's a good news story.
it is a good news story, and it's really neat because he shared with me, and he said to me, he said, we needed you during that time.
Right.
And he said, my parents were, we were always fed, we always had a house. He said, but I remember experiencing the lights going off. And he said, what's neat for me is that it was cool for me to be able to shop. He goes, but also what it allowed my parents to be able to provide for us. So, we have families that shop year after year after year after year.
But only twice in a calendar year.
That's in their calendar
In
year.
their calendar year.
That's correct.
The school calendar year, you mean?
Nope.
Nope.
So their calendar year.
Oh, okay.
So great question. That's another thing that we get asked as well. So you could shop today. A family could shop today as long as they have their appointment, and we
Right.
do it by appointment only. You should
Okay,
ask me about that in a minute.
I did
Yeah,
ask
you're
you.
going to like that.
Well, it's going so fast, and
I
I'm like,
know.
and all these questions are
Right? So you'll have to have me back. So the
Love to.
Okay. So we shop by appointment, so you have to have an appointment.
Okay.
And the reason that we do that is because you have a personal shopper that follows you around.
Ooh.
And helps you pick out your clothes.
Okay.
And we like to say our customer service is better than Nordstrom. So they can come and shop today as long as they have their appointment, as long as they have their free or reduced lunch letter or their referral from another social service agency.
Okay.
Then, if they wanted to come back next week and they have an appointment and they haven't done their second shop for the year, they could come back, theoretically.
Okay.
But they would not be able to come back and shop again until February the 28th of 2025.
So I promised you, before we went on air, an opportunity to look in your camera, and you have some info you need to share with people, but deliver any message that you want to our listening and watching audience.
All right. Thank you again for having me, Kim.
My pleasure.
So what I would like to say is we exist because of our community. Closed to Kids would not be able to be closed to kids without our community. If you're sitting at home and you're watching this and you would like to come in and volunteer at one of our stores, we would love to have you. If you have a child or know of a child or would like to buy a wardrobe, please consider donating clothes, buying a wardrobe, or volunteering with Closed to Kids. We're a great, fun place, and we'd love to have you. Thank you.
Give your website and repeat it twice, please.
I will do it. So you can find out more information about how to donate clothes, where our stores are located, and how to volunteer or make a donation. And that would be found at www.clothes, like the clothes you wear, so CLOTHES, 2TO, kids, KIDS.org. So again, www.clothes2tokids.org.
Jennifer, I cannot tell you. You're going to have to come back because, like, I have a bunch of more questions in my head.
I'm sure you probably do.
That I didn't get to ask because it goes really fast and I'm thinking all the time. But I can't thank you enough for being my guest today on Connecting with Kim. It's really been a pleasure, and I knew it would be wonderful from the first time I saw you.
Well, right back at you.
If you're just joining us and you need to go back and watch the whole interview, okay? My guest today on Connecting with Kim was Jennifer Jacobs, who is the Executive Director of Clothes to Kids here in Pinellas and Hillsborough County. They have 3 stores, Clearwater, Tampa, and St. Petersburg. Please go to their website, clothes2kids, not the number 2, D-O, kids.org, and have a look around because they could use your help in a myriad of ways. So thank you for joining us today. I want to give a final shout out to my sponsor, the Spring of Tampa Bay, who provides my on-air wardrobe, and they also provide safe spaces and empowering services to survivors of domestic violence and their children, and they've been doing it for a long time, and they do an excellent job of it, and we are so grateful for them. And you can visit the thrift store on North Willow, just north of Kennedy, and the net proceeds from the thrift store help support their mission, which is extremely important to me. So please make me happy and go and shop there. I tell you, I find great stuff all the time. I can't keep everything that I find there. So thanks again for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another edition of Connecting with Kim, because our goal every week is to bring you the latest information to help you live your best life in our corner of paradise. So long.